Major League Baseball is involved in another scandal, age and identity fraud. But to understand how big this is, let's go back into 2011. Albert Pujols signed with the Angels that year, a massive 10-year contract worth $240 million. He was 31 years old when he signed that contract, at least that's what he says, but back in 2021, a former MLB executive started a rumor that Albert Pujols lied about his age in order to get into baseball. He said he knew that Albert Pujols was not the age that he says he was. Coming out of the Dominican Republic, age fraud was actually a pretty common occurrence. Obviously, he entered the league over 20 years ago. Things have now obviously changed since then. MLB began to implement new rules and background checks just to go ahead and confirm a player's identity. Of course, the right move. It became the league investigator's job to make sure that they were not lying about their age. This crisis was now averted for many years, seeing little to no people lying about their age, until something happened.
Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S.
After COVID began, everything was affected, and that includes professional sports and how they completely conducted their work. According to an anonymous baseball scout, around the pandemic is when the age crisis and identity crisis began to pick itself back up. You heard that right, it's back and it might be worse than we could have ever imagined. Picture this, you're a 10-year-old playing Little League Baseball and your parents have an agreement to get you into MLB in 2030, all because they bribed a league official. This is what's currently going on all across the Dominican Republic. Or picture this, you're in your 20s, you have talent, so you go ahead and lie about your age, and instead of saying you're 20, you say that you're a teenager just to go and get more money. The MLB age scandal has returned in 2024, and it's arguably worse than ever before. First things first, players do age fraud for one main reason. A player who's 20 years old will not get the same money as a 16-year-old who will be signing internationally. So it's all mainly about the money for these guys, and keep in mind, this is something that has been happening for about 4 years now, since COVID, and it recently just happened here in 2024. 50 people were just caught lying about their age, and then they had their contract negotiations canceled, obviously, but that's not even counting the handshake agreements that are currently haunting international signings as well. We don't know how many handshake agreements have actually been made up to this point. These handshakes that players are making are guaranteeing them millions of dollars before they are even eligible to enter the league. They're able to get away with it when they do these agreements because it's so hard to figure out who's doing it and who's not. According to The Athletic, the app WhatsApp is responsible for these pre-eligibility agreements. There are currently groups on this app of players and trainers who are agreeing and even canceling their handshake agreements. But I'm sure you're wondering, why is the system suddenly breaking out of nowhere? If it worked for so long, why is it not working anymore? It's pretty simple actually. As time went on, people started to figure this system out. They knew how people were getting caught and eventually even learned how to avoid getting caught. A scouting director told The Athletic, and I quote, "I think now with the deals being done so early, it's easier to exploit because the investigators haven't gotten to those deals yet." These trainers in the Dominican Republic, they are largely responsible for what's going on. You know how in MLB, Scott Boras has the reputation of the most expensive negotiator? Well, in the Dominican Republic, there are trainers that you just know not to negotiate with because they are cheaters. They are trying to cheat the system and they are pulling these tricks.
I've been led to understand that tricks are exclusively for children.
An MLB executive told The Athletic, "I hate to say this, but you lose trust in the system, the checks and balances. If, you do work in that department, I would be losing faith as well, and I am losing faith in the system as a fan." As for players who have said that they're younger than they actually are, there are 5 teams currently being affected by that. Those teams being the Royals, Astros, Twins, Mets, and Athletics. Some of those players, of course, were supposed to be signed this year, others were eligible in the future. These players had agreements that made them millions of dollars. There was recently a 2023 international signing, and he was in the Mets organization. He was under questioning for lying about his age. His name is Raimel Ortiz, the number 26 ranked player in his international class. The deal in the end did fall through, and it's because he lied about his age, but the Mets didn't get it quite as bad as the Astros. The Astros were most affected by this, having 3 players who they will most likely be losing from this scandal. Oh, by the way, out of all of these players that lied about their age, the Yankees supposedly have the best player. We don't know a lot of names right now, but apparently they had the best. We also saw that the Red Sox had interest in someone, but this player that they had interest in was 6 years older than what they originally thought. 6 years is a long time. That could be the difference maker from an 18-year-old to a 24-year-old. Again, we don't really know any names right now, but what we do know is that this is going on. The reason it's also so easy to do this in specifically the Dominican Republic is because there are actually people immigrating from other countries with the intention to go and play baseball. They say, hey, I don't have papers, so then they could just lie about their age, and then this is how this all happens, allowing for them to play baseball and easily cheat their way into the system. Because as soon as a contract is finalized, they're now a millionaire for doing almost nothing except lying. What's crazy to me is that even after so many MLB officials have spoke out about this, there are others that have completely denied these allegations, saying things like, we have not seen any material statistical change in those numbers over the last several years, which, by the way, might be true, but I don't know. Here's the thing that you have to remember, MLB does not count the handshake deal, so yeah, I don't really expect anything crazy there statistically to be changed. It's also being said that there's a lot that goes into international signings. It's the team's choice to go and make these handshake agreements. They decide, okay, we want you when you're eligible. You will get paid $3 million when you are of age. They are not allowed to actually do that. They should have to wait until they become eligible. That is the rule. The only problem is that they are not facing big consequences by the league for doing this. They're just allowed to do it practically. So step 1 to fix it is start adding punishment for teams that are actually doing this. Step 2, fix the investigation process. When a player is investigated and they maybe don't have enough information to confirm his identity and date of birth, MLB does mark them as underdetermined. When they're underdetermined, it would make sense for you to not sign him and instead move on to someone else. But according to several club officials, teams might sign the player anyway, and it has happened. Fix the investigation system. There is no reason that this level of scumminess should be happening in such a league like MLB. I don't hear about things like this in the NFL or the NBA. Why is this happening in MLB? Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be coming to an end anytime soon either. A scout told The Athletic there's a flyer going around right now for the 2030 eligible kids, which are, by the way, 10 to 11 years old. They literally have 5 to 6 years until they're eligible, yet soon enough, they will be shaking hands as well with teams guaranteeing them loads of money. One of the bigger problems that the teams are facing right now is, okay, well, we're about to be done with this contract. You know, we're about to sign a very, very good player. Oh, wait, he was lying about his age. Okay, the whole deal has now fell through. After it falls through, now what do? I mean, all the international prospects are practically signed. At least one who is going to be as good as that player. Well, now you can't sign him, so you're kind of screwed and you end up getting no one. This is a major problem, and I really hope to see MLB fix it very, very soon. False age and false identity shouldn't be happening. Anyways, what do you guys think of this? I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, and peace out.
I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right.